Welcome back to another vlog, a regular vlog. I'm thinking about doing these entirely unscripted from now on, just to get the hang of vlogging off the top of my head. Anyway, what I would like to talk about today is starting out on YouTube. Every YouTuber starts somewhere, whether it be with a comedy skit, a vlog, a how-to video, or just about any other kind of video you can think of. In all my years of studying YouTube and how to make YouTube videos, I have learned what is the best way to start out on YouTube, what is the best way to eventually grow, and plenty of other things that have to do with YouTube and making money on YouTube. What I want to talk about today is the ideal start on YouTube. Of course, unfortunately, not everyone gets to start out with all the ideal things at first on YouTube. Like, take me for example. I don't have most of the ideal things that you'd want when you start a YouTube channel, unfortunately. Of course, I have lighting, and I've improved on my lighting. I have a decent mic, and I've actually improved on my mic. It took me a few months, but I eventually learned not to be so camera shy. You see, when I first started, I was very camera shy, which is why you might notice how sometimes I look nervous in my videos. Now, I don't really have that problem anymore, which is good. If you're going to do YouTube, the first thing you want to make sure is that you're not camera shy. At least not so camera shy that it obstructs you making videos. Now, of course, the other things you're going to want to have is decent lighting, a camera, a place that's not too noisy, because you don't want too much background noise. Now, it all depends on what you're doing. If you're doing things out in public, then it doesn't really matter as much, as long as you're doing it during the day. If you're doing it in a room like me, you're going to want all those things. Now, of course, you can probably figure out on your own what you need for your YouTube channel, but the ideal things that you'd want to have that I've noticed big YouTubers had when they first started out is dependent on what you're doing. Of course, for someone like me who's making comedy sketches, comedy skits, you'd want to have a group of people who can help you with that, because coming up with ideas that you can do completely on your own is not easy. I've had a lot of difficulty with this, and I've had plenty of ideas in which I could include other people. Unfortunately, where I live, I don't have any family or friends close by, which has made it rather difficult to make skits that are actually decent, because I've had to come up with ideas that I can do by myself, which isn't easy. So if you have multiple people, you can have one person operating the camera, you can have like one person who is doing something in the skit while you're doing something else. You can converse back and forth with it seeming more naturally than if you were just talking to yourself like a clone. Of course, Wheezy Waiter pulls this off very well by himself, but unfortunately not everyone is as good as him at it. Now, when it comes to myself, I'm not always going to be where I live right now. I actually plan on moving at some point closer to my family and friends, and hopefully they'll be willing to help me with my comedy skits and other things as well. So there's often this misconception that when you first start out on YouTube, you have to have the best camera or the best microphone or the best lighting. You don't. It can be good too, but you don't. See, now, I would have filmed sooner with like my phone camera, but I thought that was like way too terrible. So I eventually did wait till I got a decent camera, but you don't have to have the best camera. Heck, I don't have the best camera. I don't have the best lighting. I didn't even have the best microphone. Of course, I'm still improving, which brings me back to lighting. You'll want to look at tips on YouTube on how to do lighting, on how to make it better. I'm still working on my lighting, as you can obviously tell. And when it comes to a microphone, you'll eventually want to get a microphone that doesn't have too much static that you can hear, because people don't really like hearing static in a video. But like I was saying, it's not the value, the quality of your production that counts. Like when it comes to the actual aspects that you can see, it's the content. The content is what matters most. Having good content and creating good content is what will cause a channel to prosper. If you have just bad content that no one wants to see, no one's going to watch it. Now, of course, not necessarily exactly no one, as in 0 views, but hardly anyone's going to. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please press like. If you'd like to see more in the future, please subscribe, and I'll see you later.